Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Yeah,
leave.
woo! Woo-hoo!
Bachelor parties in Vegas are far from innocent, but in some cases, they're downright criminal. And Phil, Stu, and Alan take this to the extreme. They commit a ton of crimes, and if they weren't protected by movie magic, they would be looking at some serious time. From stealing tigers, to kidnapping gangsters, to Grand Theft Auto. Today, we're looking at the crimes committed by our favorite wolf pack in the original Hangover movie. Because, a lot like herpes, your rap sheet doesn't stay in Vegas. I'm Kyle with Cinema Sentencing, and today we're sentencing the Hangover's wolf pack for their crimes.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Now, we'll be going through the movie's timeline to identify every crime this trio commits. And at the end, we'll be looking at Nevada law to calculate exactly what their sentences will be. So make sure to stick around. The movie opens with Phil calling the fiancé of his best friend, Doug, in the middle of the desert to tell her they lost him. She freaks out because they're supposed to get married in 5 hours. 2 days earlier, Doug and his soon-to-be brother-in-law, Alan, try on tuxedos. Let's just say Alan has a lot of problems. Doug talks to his future father-in-law, who gives him permission to take his Mercedes to Vegas for the bachelor party. Doug and Alan go to pick up his friends, starting with Phil, a high school teacher currently reminding his class to pay $90 for a field trip to an observatory. Which brings us to our first two crimes. The first for Phil, embezzlement. These are school funds that he's stealing to bring with him to Vegas. And at $90 per student, that's definitely several $1,000s. As for the second crime, well, it's a little vague, but Alan says that he's not supposed to be within 200 feet of a school.
Or Chuck E. Cheese.
So we've got to put him down for violating a restraining order. The group then goes to pick up Stu, a dentist at home arguing with his awful girlfriend Melissa about the bachelor party. Stu tells her that they're going to Napa Valley for wine tasting before his friends come through to page the good doctor, and they're on their way.
It says here we should work in teams.
They drive to Las Vegas and check into Caesar's Palace, go upstairs to get ready for their night out, and Stu tells Doug and Phil that he's going to propose to Melissa with his grandmother's Holocaust ring. The four go to the roof and make a toast, and Alan treats everyone to a shot of Jägermeister, as well as what is the greatest speech imaginable.
I make a toast. What? What do you got there? Oh, yeah.
The Wolfpack toasts to a night they won't remember, but none of them will forget. The next day, Stu wakes up as a woman leaves their suite and quickly realizes it's completely trashed. Everything in the suite is destroyed, and given how expensive a suite like this one is, this would be destruction of property. How much damage has been done is hard to say, but for anyone who's had a surcharge in Vegas, smoking in a non-smoking room often results in a $500 charge. So something like this must be in the tens of thousands. And that's not even mentioning the tiger they left in the bathroom, or the baby they found in the closet. We'll get back to the tiger later, but for now, it's unclear exactly how they ended up with baby Carlos. But given the fact that they found him in a closet, left alone in a suite that has a dangerous jungle cat roaming around, this definitely gets them a child endangerment charge for sure. Downstairs at breakfast, when they check their pocket for clues, Alan finds a valet ticket showing that they were in fact driving around hammered the night before. So an additional DWI charge as well. On that note, when they use their valet ticket to retrieve their car, they're given a police cruiser. We'll come back to how they originally obtained the car, but for now, technically Phil's guilty of impersonating a police officer here, not only for making the valet believe they're cops, but also because Phil uses the car's lights and speaker system to get through traffic. They end up talking to a doctor from the night before, who tells them that they were roofied last night, before pointing them to a wedding chapel where it's revealed that Stu married a local stripper.
I'll tell you one thing, you look seriously happy here, man.
But when they get there, they decide to leave baby Carlos alone in the police car. Keep in mind, this is Nevada, which is incredibly hot during the day. And it should go without saying that this is another example of child endangerment. Alan's sunglasses are not going to be enough to keep little Carlos safe in that Nevada sun. They talk to the guy at the chapel, get attacked by some gangsters, and end up finding the stripper that Stu married.
What the hell happened to you guys?
When the police bust in and arrest the trio, it's finally revealed that they did in fact steal the cop car originally. So that's one count of Grand Theft Auto. And if they thought they'd get away with it, well, not up in here.
Not up in here!
If only you could get out of crimes in real life by taking a few taser shots. They get the car back, which surprisingly hasn't been damaged, but the problem here is the random Chinese man trapped in the trunk. He springs out and beats them all to the ground with a tire iron and takes off onto the Vegas Strip. Alan takes this opportunity to admit that he was the one who roofied everyone the night before. Though, in his defense, he thought it was ecstasy, but nonetheless, this is still a crime. Even without any ill intent, it would still be considered infliction of bodily harm in most cases. And because Rohypnol is in fact illegal in the United States, this would also be possession of a controlled substance for Alan. With Alan's conscience cleared, they head back to the hotel to find Mike Tyson, who's a bit upset about the fact that the trio stole his tiger. So the truth is revealed that they did, in fact, steal a tiger. After they entice the tiger with a drugged steak, they wheel it through a casino and into an elevator where a family is. Bringing a tiger into an enclosed space with an innocent family is definitely reckless endangerment. They finally get the tiger back to Tyson's house, and we also get surveillance footage of them stealing the tiger, which proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're guilty of tiger robbery. After they leave Tyson's place, they're cornered by Mr. Chow and his men. This, of course, is the Asian man they found in the trunk of the car. It's revealed here that Phil placed him in the car trunk the previous night, saying that he was his good luck charm, which adds a pretty serious kidnapping charge to their rap sheet. Mr. Chow shows them Doug with a bag over his head and says that he wants the $80,000 that they stole from him back, which they decide to try to earn by counting cards in a casino. And thanks to Alan, they're able to pull it off. Luckily, this is actually one of the few things that they do that isn't illegal, as counting cards isn't a crime in Nevada. It's just frowned upon.
And like masturbating on an airplane.
Unfortunately, the Doug they receive is the wrong Doug. It's the drug dealer who sold Alan the roofies. But he hits them with an insightful question, asking why don't they call roofies floories, since you're more likely to end up on the floor than the roof, which sparks the revelation that Doug was left on the roof of Caesar's Palace. They get Doug and haul ass out of Vegas, get their tuxedos on the road, and make it in time for Doug's wedding. Stu tells off Melissa, and everything works out. That said, they built up one hell of a rap sheet for one day in Vegas. So let's tally up these crimes and calculate their sentences. First off, we have embezzlement. This one is only applicable to Phil. The amount of money he steals is unclear. It's likely around the threshold for a felony. So if we're conservative, we'd guess he would receive 3 months in jail. Next is Alan's violation of a restraining order. And similarly, because the specifics are unclear, it's likely a misdemeanor, and Alan would be hit with a $1,000 fine. On that note, Alan also has to answer for the charges of infliction of bodily harm and possession of a controlled substance. For the possession, because it's a small amount, Alan would likely receive 3 months in jail at most. But for the drugging of other people unknowingly, he would likely get 2 years in prison. The destruction of property potentially wouldn't end up as a criminal charge, but those damages were massive and would likely result in tens of thousands of dollars owed to Caesar's Palace. All three are on the hook for child endangerment, for leaving poor little Carlos in a hotel suite with a tiger, and then leaving him alone in a car in the baking sun. Generally, this is based on how egregious the endangerment is, and given this instance involves a tiger, it wouldn't be a shock to see them sentenced to 6 months in jail. In Vegas, drunk driving is notoriously common. Their DWI charge would likely result in a $400 fine. When it comes to Grand Theft Auto for stealing the cop car, in Nevada, if a car is worth more than $3,500, it's considered a Class B felony and is punishable by 1 to 5 years in prison, though it's typically on the lower end plus a fine. In this case, since it was a cop car to boot, we're gonna say their sentence would be 2 years plus a $5,000 fine. Another crime that was only applicable to Phil, impersonating a police officer, is actually a serious crime as well. He would likely receive 3 months in prison plus another $2,000 in fines. For the reckless endangerment charge that came from bringing a tiger into an elevator with innocent people, they would likely get 3 months in jail. And on that note, for the tiger robbery, we're gonna say they would get another 3 months. Lastly, we have the kidnapping charge, which is the most serious. Forcing someone into a car trunk and leaving them there is very serious, even if they are a criminal themselves like Chow. There's a really good chance the guys would get 8 years in prison for this crime. So with all the sentencing complete, let's tally it up and see how long the Wolfpack would be behind bars.
You do not want to be sitting on these benches. We call this place Loserville.
Phil would receive 11 years and 6 months in prison. Stu would receive 11 years in prison. And Alan would receive 13 years and 3 months in prison. But do they deserve a pardon on the basis of simply partying too hard? Let us know.